What an amazing day of Test cricket for South Africa. And they are currently sitting in a strong position after stumps on day two. I don't think a lot of people saw this coming. And I think that I would like actually some honesty from the cricket fan base with regards to this particular Test match, because there will be a lot of people jumping on this bandwagon of happiness and almost saying that they predicted all of these things happening in this Test match. And I feel that that will take a little bit away from the brilliance of the coach, the players, and the performance. So there has been an excellent performance from South Africa today with the ball, and and I have to say that many didn't think that this would happen. Uh, the decisions that were made before this Test match were bold and brave, and it worked out in South Africa's favor 100%. And I don't think anybody predicted this wicket to do what it's doing. To think that South Africa picked two spinners before the game, there was a lot of criticism around it. And at the end of the day, it's easier to speak when, in hindsight, after the both teams have batted, and you can comfortably say at the moment that South Africa are in a good position now. By no means does that mean that we are 100% on top. I would say that the advantage is in South Africa's favor because we currently have a lead. But it is going to require a lot of concentration and a lot of hard work from the South African batters tomorrow if we want to put ourselves in a position to win this match. But we need to applaud how well South Africa has bowled today, and we have to applaud how good the tactics was on this day. And we have to also celebrate the fact that there were some players in this team that were selected that got a lot of hate and criticism, and they deserve to be praised for this particular performance today. So it is a very good day from South African cricket perspective. It's actually a brilliant day for South African cricket. This Test match is a important cog in the wheel for me. I said it from the start. I said it's very important for us as a channel and for me as a fan that is a lover of Test cricket, because I wanted to see what our domestic players can do. I wanted to see how particularly our batters step up in pressure situations, how they perform when the chips are down. And right now, they've been given a rare advantage with the chips are up, if you could say that. So I'm very happy with this performance today. And I'm going to do, obviously, a recap of everything that happened on the day's play. But before we get going, before we get started, there's a couple of things I'd like you guys to please do. We are closing in on that 5,000 mark, so please subscribe, click that notification bell for all future videos. I'd also like you guys to please download the latest issue of Cricket Fanatics magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every month. Link is on the screen as well as in the description as well. And if you know anybody that has a business, that is an entrepreneur or has a startup, then please send them this link. We have launched the Business Corner recently, and this is for all businesses, entrepreneurs, startups that are looking to market their products and brand effectively and affordably to a cricket audience. But I think that the advice that we give can also help those that are not trying to market to a cricket audience. So please send them to this particular link. The link is on the screen as well as in the description. So let's get that going. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. I am really looking forward to discussing this with you guys. A very good morning and welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your review show. I'm your host, Khalid, and this is the show where we talk about everything that has to do with day two of the second test between South Africa and New Zealand in Hamilton. Wow, I don't think many would have predicted this to happen. And I want to start off by saying a lot of credit needs to go to the bravery of the coaching department and the coach and the selectors for the selector. We know who the selector is for picking the side, backing the side, and reading the conditions to a T. We can only give credit where it's due when it comes to that because I don't think anybody predicted that this wicket was going to aid spin. New Zealand definitely didn't at the begin before this match by picking all of their seamers and not picking a specialist spinner. South Africa went with two, and pundits scratched their heads in New Zealand. If you're watching the commentary and listening to the commentary, then you would have picked that up. There was a sense of um, a sense of underestimation, I would say, from the New Zealand punditry when it comes to this particular match. I don't think a lot of them actually backed South Africa to get anywhere on top in this match, but the fighting spirit is definitely showing within this team. And we spoke about it prior to the test series, and there was a lack of it in the first test match. Many people will sit here and say now that this team should have played in the first test, but you can't do ifs, buts, and maybes. What happened in the first test happened, and I think I commend South Africa for putting that behind them and coming out here and fighting as best as they could. Now, day one was an interesting one because we were kind of saved by a very good performance from Ruanda Swart, and he continued that on day two, and he got himself from 55 to 65. So he only added 10 runs to his total, 64, 9 runs to his total overnight. And Sean van Berg, I think if Sean van Berg didn't lose his wicket early on, got a very good delivery from Rock. South Africa could have had a lot more on the board. But all in all, we posted 242, which was a good total, decent total. I was hoping for something a little bit closer to 300, closer to 280, because I knew that Dane Piedt could bat a bit as well. So unfortunately, he didn't come to the party with the bat. And Rock was absolutely fantastic. He took 4 for 59 on debut, so it's a brilliant return for him. He hasn't taken a fifer yet in first class cricket or in yet in this particular match, but he was close. We also have a player that has never taken a four in first class cricket, and that is Sepo Moreki. So seems to be a thing, but I mean, Rock is still very young. So we were bowled out for 242, and we New Zealand came out to bat. And the amazing thing was we knew that there's going to be a little bit of nip in the wicket, and I have to give credit to all the bowlers today. I think they all bowled fantastically and in pairs, and that was very, very important for this team. And that partnership between Van Berg and Ruan de Swart became even more important with the way we bowl today. So we could have easily been in a very, very difficult situation if we didn't get that partnership between that pair. And when New Zealand went out to bat, we got the perfect start from a South African perspective. Uh, Patterson bowled a beautiful ball to Devon Conway, and Devon Conway struggling one again in this particular test. His struggles continued. Um, he angled the ball in beautifully, coming from around the wicket, and forced Conway to play. And he got the edge, and Fontaine took a good catch behind the stumps, or a simple catch behind the stumps. And South Africa were then on top. I wouldn't say on top, but they were then they were fired up. That was the word I'm looking for. And it was a perfect start for South Africa. And then you sit and you say, keep the pressure on, make sure that we keep the pressure on, get more wickets, etc. But Tom Latham and Kane Williamson gave us a little bit of a scare. They put on a little bit of a partnership of 74 runs, and they were starting to get flowing. They were batting quite, I would say, cautiously, but they started getting the runs, piling on the runs, and then we made the change, obviously bringing in Dane Piedt, and boy oh boy, he bowled Tom Latham with a magnificent delivery, off stump, knockback. He tried to block it. Maybe New Zealand's plan against our spinners was a little bit too cautious, and he tried to block it, and it turned past his outside edge and then hits the off stump. And the South African team was obviously elated after that. And then he followed it up with Kane Williamson's wicket, which was an absolutely massive wicket, setting New Zealand back 86 for 3. A fantastic bowling display from Piedt till that point, of course. And so that New Zealand were now in a little bit of trouble. They did get going again with another partnership, still sticking to that their style of batting, being conservative and giving South Africa quite a bit of respect, I would say. But then Moreki came in with a brilliant ball. He was bowling a very good line and length all day, really toiling away. But he put the length ball across Ravindra, and he tried to cut it, and it was an inside edge that clattered into the base of the leg stump. So South Africa were then really celebrating, and really would say that they were in the game, because they got the 2-star men from the first game, obviously out cheaply, getting good starts and not being able to convert. They were 145 for 4 when that wicket was fell, and then there was a total collapse. Tom Blundell was dismissed by Patterson. Another great delivery. Length ball around off, and Blundell was looking to defend it, but tried to withdraw his bat and was too late. And took off the bails. So South Africa were then in a brilliant position. An absolutely brilliant position, you would say. 157 for 5, and they just kept going. They kept putting on the pressure through to Dane Piedt. Glenn Phillips was the next to go, 162 for 6. A brilliant ball again from Dane Piedt. He was absolutely fantastic with the ball in hand. And then Tim Southey was next to 4 with Dane Patterson. So Dane Patterson and Dane Piedt a throwback to 2008, 2009, maybe you could say, when they were both bowling for the Cobras, of course, and even maybe beyond that. A very good performance from both bowlers. The way they bowled from both ends, they really were an excellent pair. And we put them back to 170 for 8 with a wicket of Tom Southey. And then the pressure was on, and Matt Henry then fell to a run out, and South Africa New Zealand were 183 for 9. And you would say that the game was at that stage 100% in South Africa's favor. And we tried to get into a situation where we would keep a good lead, or a decent lead, by bowling New Zealand out. But then Neil Wagner had something to say about it, and we would expect Neil Wagner to do well. I mean, he averages over 20 against South Africa. I think he averages the highest against South Africa than any other team with the bat. Seems like there's a little bit of a incentive there, don't you think? So yeah, he batted beautifully. He actually took on Dane Piedt as he was looking for his fifer, and he scored 33 of 27 balls, three fours and two sixes. And we're talking about strike rate here in this particular innings, because in this particular performance, because he batted at 122.22. He went into T20 mode and really started smacking and putting the pressure back on Dane Piedt. And he might have given a sign to the New Zealand batters that they maybe should have been a little bit more attacking against Dane Piedt and not as defensive as they were. But credit goes to Dane Piedt, who got a fifer. A fantastic performance from him. Uh, no one, not a lot of people would have predicted him being back into the Proteas setup. And um, Coach Shukri obviously getting him to come back. We did an excellent interview on the channel about Dane Pitt's return. It was a good interview because of Dane Pitt's honesty with us about his comeback, about his career, about the way Coach Shukri obviously communicated with him. I see a lot of people quoting that particular moments. Uh, he speaks about all of that in the interview, and I think a lot of credit needs to be given over there as well to the coach for bringing him back. Um, I don't. There's something that I do want to say about the coach a little bit later. But Dane Pitt obviously absolutely fantastic in his performance. A second 5-wicket haul for him in Test cricket in only his 10th Test match. So a phenomenal performance from the guy, we have to say. Uh, I mean, I'm actually extremely proud of the way this bowling attack performed today. It is, it was a fantastic performance, and we need to give credit where it's due. And New Zealand are all out for 211, and South Africa have a lead of 31 runs. Now, this is not a hell of a lot, but it's something. South Africa's most difficult periods with the bat have been that first hour and scoring in that first hour. So now we don't have an excuse of having to struggle in that first hour, I would say, from a or have to be there's no worry for the South African batters of having to struggle to get runs in that first hour. They can actually bat their natural games right now with that 31 run cushion. It gives our openers a little bit of um, a little bit of calmness. It will give them a little bit of calmness at the crease now to be able to go out there and really try and add on to this lead and bat New Zealand out of the game should be the mentality. At 100% has to. This is only day 2 of the test match. We're going into day 3 tomorrow. South Africa should really try and apply the pressure. And I want to see our batters step up and perform like we know they can. They've got all the potential in the world to do so. And we need to see them do it. And we need to see them play to their full potential. So I'm hoping that the batters tomorrow can go out there. They have a cushion now and it's a bit of safety, so they can take the shackles off slightly. I don't want to see reckless cricket. And I think there's been a little bit of reckless cricket from some of our batters after the hard work has been put in. Put in the hard work and really punish New Zealand, because you can make a proper statement over here. There's a chance to make a real statement from a South African cricket perspective. This is something that South Africa needs to do. And I think that our spinners, the wicket will be even better for our spinners on day 3, on day 4. Oh, on day 4, sorry, and day 5. We need to bat out tomorrow. We need to pile on the pressure and we need to show the world what we can do as a South African nation, and to show a little bit of defense to our domestic system as well, because it's been getting a little bit of a beating um, about the standard of cricket. And there's been a lot of questions asked about the difference between the standard of test cricket and domestic cricket and our players, and whether our domestic system is good enough. So I think the batters owe the domestic system a little bit of defense over here. They need to stand up for it and um, and put in a good performance. By no means is 31 runs a massive lead from a South African perspective, but it is something to work with. It's a little bit of safety for them to be able to at least bat with a little bit more calmness and less nerves in that first session, because the aim would be in that first half an hour to get about 30 runs. That is already on the board. So you don't really need to bat with the same um, cautiousness or nervousness, I would say, in the middle now that you got this lead. There's something to work with here. You can really bat without any shackles on. And also, not only that, you can bat properly. Just bat properly. It's a simple words I'm using there, but that's exactly what we need our batters to do. Is just trust their game plans and stick to it and bat smartly. Don't give your wicket away recklessly. Put in the hard yards and then try and convert your scores. I mean, that's the as best as you can do. We've been getting too many good starts without converting. So that's what I would like to see from the boys tomorrow. Okay, so let me get into the live chat and see what you guys have had to say. Good morning, Ahmad. Lawrence says, excellent day of cricket for SA. We needed that bowling performance. Game not done though. We now need to go back it up with the bat, get 250 to 80 lead, and we massive favorites. Now, by no means is this game done. Oh, I don't think anybody would have thought that this game is done now. We just got ourselves in a very good position and maybe sent a little bit of shockwaves amongst the fan base that maybe doubted this team's ability. I mean, I don't, I don't blame our fan base for doubting this team, because there's a lot of players in this unit probably that some fans don't know about, have never heard of before, though, especially the fans that have not been uh, 100% invested in cricket in South Africa, that they only watch the Proteas. Some players don't watch. Some fans don't watch domestic cricket at all. So I can kind of understand that. But if you don't watch domestic cricket and you don't support South African cricket in all its formats, in all its glory, in domestic cricket, etc., I don't think you kind of have the right. I wouldn't say the right, but I don't think you should be speaking about these players then and saying all these negative things if you don't know anything about them. If you got nothing to say, like Eminem said in one of his songs, I think I can't remember which one it is. If you got nothing good to say, then just don't say nothing. So just rather say nothing if you don't have anything good to say. So we see a lot of couch pundits want to speak up about and criticize this team ahead of this test match. I've seen a hell of a lot of comments on social media trying to have a go at the coach, trying to have a go at this team and the players because of ignorance. So I think there's what needs to be said is that if the players do perform there, yes, they would have performed out of their skins. And we always said that they would have to, because I mean, by no means should this team be wiping the floor clean with New Zealand. I mean, no one would have expected that, and that's rightfully so. But the one thing that we can say is that the ones that have watched these players, particularly the batters, the ones that have watched them in domestic cricket, know that they have the ability to be able to put in a fight. And there was a lack of fight, I would say, or a lack of calmness from certain performers in the first test series. And I would say in the second innings, in the first innings here as well. Poor shot selection, etc. We know the quality of these players, and all I wanted to see is them play to their full potential. We've got an opportunity over here now for these batters to play to their full potential and to show the world what they can do. And it's a last chance for these batters to put up their hand for a test call up. 100% for that first team. There are a couple of spots up for grabs. If they want to be, if they want their test career, if test cricket is what they want for their careers, they've got a big opportunity here to put up their hands and say to the coach, I should be picked here. I should be in the mix. I should be in the talk when you want to select your next test team. Um, Wonderboy says, satisfying performance from our boys today. We just need the batters to step up with a huge score tomorrow. Spot on. Lorenzo says, now that was much better. I just hope we can get 250 plus and end up with a lead of over 300. It's going to be a difficult task, but a possible one. How vital does that partnership between the Swat and Van Berg look now? At 150 for 6, we were reeling. That partnership could just be the difference in the match and should not get overlooked. Should never get overlooked. That's why I actually mentioned it at the top of the show. Matt92 says KP and Hamza should deliver. I feel this is their last chance. Lorenzo saying great performance from the two Danes. Piedt was tearing them apart. Rianchi said KP should play 3 or 4. Lorenzo says Fontaine also deserves massive credit for the way he kept on a turning wicket. He's an excellent keeper, and I think that plays a hell of a lot. And he's had a good coach. He has a very good coach coaching him at the Royals, at the Rocks. Sorry, so he's had good coaching in the past and right now, and he's a very good keeper. And he deserves some credit. And I think the coach back home also deserves a lot of credit for the amount of work they put in with Fontaine, because his keeping has been absolutely fantastic. He's been one of the best keepers in the country for a while. It's his batting that we need to see now come to its. He needs to bring out the best ability with the bat. There was a lot of talk about Clive Fontaine back in the day when he was under 19 player. There was a little bit of hype around him, and we all thought that he was going to go on to become a very good player. But something's happened in his career over the past couple of years that has maybe just knocked him down a bit, and he's starting to rebuild it at the Rocks. Fontaine also deserves a massive credit for the way he kept on the turning wicket. KP should play 3 or 4. Lawrence says Moreki bowled really well. His pace was up as well, hitting that high 130s. And that's why I said in our preview, and I think you said it as too, Lawrence, we shouldn't drop Moreki in this test match. Moreki must play. And I think we both said it actually. And I was very adamant on that, because I think he bowled really well in the first test. And I think on this particular wicket, when it's offering a bit of seam, he's the one guy that has a 130 plus. So good selection by the coach. Let's just put that out there first and foremost, because I think Coach Shukri also deserves some credit over here for being brave enough to pick this team, for reading the conditions and deciding to play 2 spinners. That was a massive brave call. A lot of us might have said maybe it's a very bold call, and the punditry from New Zealand were also very, I wouldn't say demeaning, but they were like asking, what are they doing? Like, what are we doing? Why are we batting first? And why do we pick 2 spinners on this wicket? They were asking those questions. And I don't think Coach Shukri cares if we say that he was right or wrong here, but so far in this match, by the way his spinners performed today, the way his bowlers performed today, we have to say that he was right to go with that selection, and he was right to pick 2 spinners. And in hindsight, it's easier to say. But this is why, these type of situations is why I've backed the coach, because of the way he thinks about the game. And we're going to see a lot of these type of things happen, I think, when it's necessary. And he's a very good reader of the game. He always has been as a coach. And I've heard as a player too, when he used to play the game as well. So this was a very good decision by the coach, and now he needs his players to back him up. I think they're batting not only for themselves, but they're batting for the team, they're batting for South African cricket, and they're batting for the coach too. Yeah. So a step up is going to be needed tomorrow. Tech says need a score of at least 280 for our spinners. Van Berg will be vital for the fourth innings. Van Berg was very good today, and it was very unlucky not to get a wicket as well. I think he deserves some credit for the way he bowled too. A lot of his deliveries went past the bat, like were just close past the bat, just missing the edge. So good performance from him. Chatil, what a comeback from Piedt after getting his international career ended by India early in 2019. Um, Lawrence says a lot was said about Pitt's inclusion. Shukri got it spot on with Dane. Priyanshu says, I still remember Rohit Sharma destroyed Pitt. So what? Why are we bringing that up now? Lorenzo, Fortuyn needs to bat down the order second innings. I'd open with Van Tonder. Khalid will also be crucial against the spin down the order as he tends to play spin. Well, let's see if a decision like that would be made. Chatil says SA need 320 to be safe. Lawrence says a 31 run lead ain't massive lead, but it's something we can at least build on it. This match is still very much in the balance because of our team being inexperienced. We should not discount New Zealand at all. 100% not. Williamson averages 60 in the fourth innings. Pitch tends to get slower and slower in last innings in New Zealand. Anything under 320 will be chaseable. Lawrence says a good percentage of SA cricket fans don't bother about domestic cricket. They only watch internationals. Those who follow domestic cricket knows that these boys can at least be competitive. Now, I've started this channel to try and promote South African cricket and to give a spotlight to South African cricket out there that hasn't been given before. And this is why we urge people to sign and subscribe to Cricket Fanatics magazine. Sign up to the free magazine. We made it free. We're not even charging for the magazine. We're doing all this hard work by allowing you guys to pick up on information regarding our domestic system and our players, to get to know them a lot better. Interviews. I do a lot of interviews on the channel as well for you guys to get to know the players that don't get hyped up, that are not Proteas players. So I urge you guys to also do your role as fans that are more educated. Send them this channel, send them this information, send them to Cricket Fanatics magazine, because it's an opportunity for them to actually join this community and grow their knowledge so that we can grow the sport in this country. That is my aim. It's always been my aim to try and grow the support and grow the sport within the country. So send this as far and wide. Get people to subscribe to this channel. Get people to subscribe and click that notification bell for all future videos, please, because we are getting closer and closer to our milestone, and we want to grow this channel even further. Gaurav says we certainly have to bat really well. Need 250. Gaurav says so our batters need to play well and not throw their wickets away. We need to see mature batting. We need to see smart batting. Shatil says there is no excuse for batting. Van Tonda, Hamza, Bennington, KP, all are within national honours, even with SA at full strength. Gora says, I think Van Tonda should open instead of Fortuyn. Dex says, Shukri playing two spinners could be a masterstroke. Glad we won the toss. Our lead could have been 50-55, but this lead of 31 is good. Touches the New Zealand comments are biased as hell. Everything New Zealand does wrong is down to New Zealand, and everything New Zealand does right is down to New Zealand brilliance. Tex says only Mark Richardson is unbiased. He is one of the best commentators in the world, for me, to be honest. Underrated. Lawrence says this New Zealand commentary team must be most boring in the world. The analysis ain't that great either, to be honest. So biased as well. Tex says the test reminds me of a victory against them at the Basin in 2017 when Keshav took a fifer. I mentioned that on yesterday's show, actually. I agree. Richardson is the only good one out there, says Tex. Teal says Grant Elliott is the only unbiased commentator in New Zealand. They had McCallum, Fleming 3 seasons back as commentators when there was some improvement. So, yeah, I want to see tomorrow. I want to see the team play with calmness. Relax. Don't tense up. You've got an opportunity here to take the game away from New Zealand if you bat properly. Simple as that. Be careful of the spin. Be watchful. Um, put the attack on the spinners. I think the important things here is to win certain stages within the match. Win your battles. If they can put pressure on the debutant in his second innings and not allow him to settle himself in with that pace, put him away. Make sure that you hit the bad balls away, and bat with sensibility. Just bat with awareness, and make sure that you leave the bad balls. Block. You make sure that the defense is solid, and just make sure that you survive your sessions. Don't lose wickets and before and just after the session. That should be the main focus tomorrow. You've got a little bit of a lead, so you don't have to worry about your first 10 to 20 minutes of the match, or 30 minutes. You can really just see off the ball, um, and bat with sensibility here, because you don't need to pile pressure on. But we also, at the same time, should not give New Zealand a chance to get themselves settled as bowlers. We need to put the pressure on them. And there were 2 days in the field, almost, and the batters didn't last the full day. So they're going to back to field again. So they're going to be a little bit tired, of course. So we need to put a little bit of pressure on them and take our the attack to them in crucial situations. But I'm very proud of the way this team has fought. I'm very proud of the way these bowlers have bowled as a unit, and making sure that they're bowling in pairs. We are sitting in a very comfortable, in a good position right now, that many wouldn't have predicted that we would be. And I think that credit needs to be given to everybody involved within the South African unit. And all we can ask for is a fight, and we're getting that. So I'm extremely proud of this team and the way they've gone about their business. Good captaincy from Neil Brunt as well, we have to say, for the way he used his bowlers in pairs, and the way the matchups that he decided to bowl with. That's very, very important. Who's bowling from what end at what time? And I think he needs to get some credit for doing that, and um, for his captaincy as well, and the leadership group here, rallying this team up, giving them belief. I urge you guys to go watch the Dane Piedt interview that I had with him. Gives you some nice insight into the player, into the mentality in the camp, and how the players are feeling. It's a pity that Dane Piedt didn't play in the first test. That would have been that I think he would have done very well in that first test on that wicket too. But unfortunately, he didn't, and now he's repaying the coach for backing him and trusting in his ability by calling him all the way from the USA to come play Test cricket for South Africa again. So, congratulations to South Africa. A good performance from the boys today. Showed some great fight. New Zealand's going to come hard at us, back at us, and there's going to definitely be a fight from Neil Wagner with the ball. So we need to be wary of him. We need to be very, very cautious of not getting too far ahead of ourselves. We need to remain calm in the situation. I don't think we should feel ourselves too much. Enjoy this, but still remain focused. The job is not done yet. There's still a long way to go. So good luck to the boys on day 3. I'll be watching, and I'll be live again after the day's play. So thanks a lot for tuning in, and I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell if you're new. We are closer and closer to 5,000 subscribers, so please help us get to that next milestone. Thanks a lot for watching, everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I'm going to get some rest, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace out.